Hello guys, welcome back to the Renegade Dyspraxic YouTube channel. This is Alex, and in today's video I'd like to talk to you about something which I must admit has caused me to rub shoulders, not in a nice way, with quite a few other fellow dyspraxic individuals out there. This basically is a thing which is quite divisive amongst the dyspraxic community. And not only that, but also I think within other, people with other learning disabilities as well. And this is the neurodiversity model. For those of you who aren't aware, the neurodiversity model was originally founded back in the mid-90s by a social scientist called Judy Singer. And originally it was designed, the model was based around people with autism. And the idea was, behind the model, basically states that rather than seeing people who have autism as having a disability, rather it is society's narrow-minded definition of what normal is. So really, society should really open its eyes more and accept, people who have autism as simply just another form of normality, rather than seeing it as a disability. Subsequently, over the last few decades since its formation, it has branched out into covering other disabilities as well. Obviously, dyspraxia being one of them. Also, people with dyslexia and ADHD have also been being mentioned as being part of the neurodiversity model, as also has Tourette's syndrome as well. Now, one of my issues with the neurodiversity model is, whilst I can't necessarily speak for people with autism and say whether I believe, the neurodiversity model for them is applicable, aka if autism is just another form of normality, what I do strongly disagree with is this whole basic idea of, we can increasing numbers and aka get a louder voice, because there is also a neurodiversity movement which seems to consist of various activists who like to try and force the idea amongst science that, or say amongst society, that the problem with these so-called conditions isn't that they are disabilities, but rather they are, as I'm saying, society is too narrow-minded in how it defines normal, and as such, it is causing people who have these conditions to be written off as having a disability. Now, I don't know about yourself, but being a dyspraxic individual, yes, I wouldn't say I'm as disabled as obviously someone who has no use of their legs, or someone who has a really severe mental brain injury where they can barely speak, or like someone who has a severe stroke, for example. We're nowhere near, thankfully, as disabled as that, but I still stand by the fact that I think dyspraxia is a disability. And basically the reason for that is because we have difficulties, with day-to-day functioning. Of course, it's across a spectrum in that some people are severely dyspraxic and are always, dropping things or causing accidents to occur, whereas other individuals are, like myself, thankfully through training, more mildly dyspraxic, and so perhaps it just comes out in the way we speak slightly, or we very rarely have the odd, accident. But I think it's crazy to say that in reality this isn't an actual problem. It's just that society needs to see us as, a different version of normal. That's, to me, actually a bit insulting, because, as I mentioned before in a few other videos, one issue I have is with anxieties. And one of my problems with anxieties is I tend to get very, very anxious very quickly. My mind can obsess on something small and make it really big, and it can make general living quite hard. And as such, I find it a bit well, I don't know the word, presumptuous, or underestimating, or even hurtful, just insensitive, to simply say, oh, that's not a disability, that's just another form of normality. Now, I'm not trying to play victim here at all. I'm trying to make me seem like, I suffer hard, because I know there are people out there who suffer far worse than I do. But I think just the whole aspect of trying to sweep it under the carpet and say, oh, it's not really a disability, it's just a different form of normality, well, as I was saying, is to me partly insulting. And I know there are many other people who have certain, disabilities, some worse than my own, who the neurodiversity model says, oh, that's just a different version of normality. Whilst the idea of the neurodiversity model in principle may seem like a nice idea, because it's saying that, all these conditions are just different versions of normal, and therefore it can come across initially as it's kind of, a bit model cuddling people, saying, oh, you don't have to really worry, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just a different version of normal. Now the problem with that, I have two problems. The first is that this model has actually expanded out in recent years to include people with conditions such as schizophrenia and other psychoses. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a world where if the neurodiversity model was the prevalent way of thinking, people who are having massive schizophrenic episodes are encouraged not to take any medication because you don't need it. Really, instead, it's just society is too narrow-minded and needs to change its definition instead of, what's classified as normal, even though people who are going through severe schizophrenic episodes are not only a danger to others, but can also, more importantly, be a severe danger to themselves. As such, I am against that whole, kind of politically correct thinking, which in the effects causes more harm than good. The other thing which I'm also against the neurodiversity model for is the whole thing itself is not based on any grounded science. In fact, there is something called the medical model of science, which is what pretty much all doctors and medical experts go by, and they are, this model pretty much goes against, the idea of the neurodiversity model. Instead of having people believe that, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just a slightly different version of normal, it's saying, actually, no, people with schizophrenia need medication. People who have, severe autism, they need help. They can't just be left to function normally in society. So I think the neurodiversity model itself, as I've mentioned in the book which I've written, Dyspraxia, How to Thrive as an Adult, which I'll add a link to in the bottom. Yes, I think the neurodiversity model itself is, that's my reason why I think it's actually doing more harm than good by essentially, trying to teach this, whilst I will admit it is well-intentioned and can be perceived as comforting to people with, disabilities, by trying to teach them that they don't have disabilities, and in many ways they don't need medication or whatever because they're just different forms of normal, is, in my view, is extremely dangerous, and as many leading doctors would agree, is foolhardy and pretty much stupid. Of course, I'm not saying that if you have a disability or some sort, be it, an autism or something, I'm not saying that you should therefore feel, what's the word I'm looking for? You should feel, bad for feeling like that. Of course not. Of course, I have dyspraxia, and yes, I see it as a negative, but I'm not going to necessarily write myself off as a person or see myself as less of a person for having it. Anyway, that's pretty much the sum up for this video for today. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call back, or leave a message in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'll speak to you in upcoming videos. And also, don't forget to give this video the thumbs up, and look forward to speaking to you later. All the best.